Today on Education Forum, a special presentation, an interview with CSU President Tim Mescott. From the studio in the College of Education and Health Professions at Columbus State University, Columbus, Georgia, this is Education Forum. Welcome to Education Forum. I'm Jeff Conklin. Today we have a very special edition of Education Forum. Just the other day I was talking with Dr. Baltimore and the staff here at the COE-HP studio, and I was telling them I was interested in interviewing the president of the university. And what they said to me is they didn't think that was possible with his schedule and how busy he is, and also with our short timeline. So I sent him an email. He immediately answered and said he'd be happy to be on the show. Just schedule it with his secretary. So today on Education Forum, we have the president of Columbus State University, Dr. Timothy S. Mescott, who is the fourth president in the 50-year history of Columbus State University. Welcome, Dr. Mescott.
Thanks, Jeff. Glad to be here.
Also with me today, I have my co-host, Dr. Gregory Blaylock, Assistant Professor of Special Education here at Columbus State University.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, Dr. Mescott, we might as well jump right into it. You've been at the helm now for 18 months at Columbus State. What do you say is probably your greatest accomplishments in this 18 months?
Well, once again, thanks for having me. It's really an honor, and it's really appropriate that we're here in the College of Education and Health Professions primary building, Jordan Hall, because from my perspective, over these past 20 months or so, some of the greatest innovations and initiatives at Columbus State University have emerged from this college.
Okay.
And I'm very appreciative for that.
Great.
Perhaps our most institutional noteworthy accomplishment was the launch January of this year, 2010, of the university's first ever doctoral program. As you know, in educational leadership and curriculum, the College of Education and Health Professions worked mightily 4 years, both internally and externally, with the Board of Regents in preparing this very unique, targeted program to meet the regional needs in the state of Georgia. And with the support of the Board of Regents, the program is off and running.
Yes.
The first cohort has matriculated, has enrolled. They are working hard. I was talking to some of the students in the program, and they've indicated that part of their first semester's assignment is to prepare and submit for many, their first ever manuscript for possible journal publication. And that is an appropriate immersion into the world
Yes, it is.
of higher ed, and it's just a great reflection on the quality of this program. So very appreciative for that. I think COEHP TV is a great innovation. In today's Ledger Inquirer, in a special section of the paper, was a full-page color picture of Jason Clark, our new animal specialist at Oxbow Meadows Environmental Center. And I think that, too, is a reflection of the innovation and creative culture here in the College of Education and Health Professions to ramp up Oxbow Meadows in less than a month. We're going to have the groundbreaking on a $2 million expansion of that environmental center, and there are just a host of other initiatives at the university across the colleges, academic and co-curricular, that are reflective of a unique energy level at Columbus State that I think is very commendable.
You know, it's interesting you bring up the new doctoral program, and one of the things that occurs to me with the addition of the doctoral program here is how it might affect the attraction of faculty. I've served on a couple of faculty search committees in the last year.
I have too.
And you know, we get great applicants for our faculty positions here. And it's just occurred to me over the last couple of months how, with the addition of a doctoral program, I wonder how that might affect, when we have open positions, the type of faculty that might apply here.
Well, I think that's a great question, and you yourself are part of a new wave of faculty that the university is aggressively trying to recruit, retain, and develop. And I think, as you know, part of our strategic plan, which calls for targeted development of additional graduate programs across the university, acknowledges the interest of young, new, terminally qualified faculty to teach in universities with emerging graduate programs that adds to their menu of opportunities at the institution. And I think our recruiting success this year for fall of 2010 is reflective of this shifting landscape that's attracting a much broader array of faculty candidates to Columbus State.
Well, and we've seen it in the searches, the quality of the people that have been applying. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're all engaged in that. I think it is your awareness of it, your dean's awareness, my awareness, that of at the level of the provost. It is, in fact, faculty that create this academic platform and define it for the university. So even in these toughest economic times, we've continued to commit to a number of faculty searches that we think are critical to the future development of this university.
Absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned challenges. So what have been some of your greatest challenges in this, 21 months?
Yeah, great question, because in the 21 months, the university has experienced a 21% budget reduction.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it has been profoundly impactful on our really on our operations. Now, we have committed to maintaining quality in programs and what we do academically. And so many parts of this university have borne a much greater brunt of these budget cuts so that it wouldn't impact academic programs
right.
at the
Which
university.
Is what we do. So yes,
we are, as we speak, in the tail end of the legislative session. We have done a lot of planning, anticipating further budget reductions, but are modestly hopeful that we will be able to sustain them successfully. We anticipate some increase in tuition as an offset to these necessary budget reductions, which are simply reflective of state revenue, revenues and tax collections. So everybody's working hard to try to manage in this challenged economic environment, and I think we've done across the board at the university just an excellent job.
Well, I heard today some positive news that sales tax revenues were up
last
month. So finally, we saw that. And
it's a big turnaround.
Yes, it is. It's good
and
to see.
They were up 1%. We'll take anything we can get.
Absolutely. It's not another cut, so it's a very positive.
It is quite striking when you think about a budget cut. You mentioned 21% over the last couple of years. I mean, we're talking a fifth of our budget.
Yes.
Approaching a fourth of our budget. I mean, it's just amazing that a university has to take that kind of cut. I'm wondering if you can put it in perspective with regard to other universities in the system of Georgia. How does our budget cut of 21%, how does that compare with other universities? Have they experienced the same?
Absolutely. The systems approach to this, university systems approach has been to equalize cuts across the board. And so our 21% is no more or less than 21% at sister institutions in the state. Now, what does differ, and this is a reduction in our state allocation. What has not been cut are the revenues that we generate from tuition. Now, that sounds it's a positive element.
It's a different pot.
It's a different pot. However, tuition in the state among comprehensive universities and research universities is not standardized. And so there are dramatic differences in the cost per credit hour across the system. Our tuition rate per credit hour is the lowest among the comprehensive universities. So even among our peers, there are 7 have different tuition levels than we do.
I see.
So It's very complicated.
And we're at the bottom.
That's right. We are at the bottom.
So that makes a big difference.
And yet, as we were talking before we turned on today's show, we have KCREP accreditation for our counseling programs, in-CATE accreditation for the College of Ed. We just went through CCNE accreditation for our nursing school, AACSB for our business school. So these are national or international standards that all universities seek, and yet we're trying to support these accredited programs with a very modest cost per credit hour, and it's tough.
Now, how did we get into the situation where we are the lowest credit hour cost?
It's hard to recreate the history at the system level. We keep asking, and we're certainly cognizant of it. We'd like some shift, some movement. We're not sure if that will happen, but we continue to ask that question.
Now, I've heard you say that hopefully by increasing enrollment, we can make up for some of that, but there is a 2-year lag?
Right, and that's an important question that you're asking, Jeff, because the university system's funding is driven by a formula that's approved by the state legislature that says half of our formula funding is comprised of tuition growth. Slightly weighted, in other words, more advantageous if we can grow graduate programs versus undergraduate programs. The other half is driven by growth and improvement in retention, progression, in graduation. How good a job we do institutionally across all of our programs in keeping, progressing, and graduating students in a 6-year time frame.
So you don't want the super seniors with the 8-year
program. So it is very important for faculty, the community, students to understand that when we talk about the need for growth, we're not fabricating that out of some visceral desire that the senior administration has to grow. It is because the legislature and the system have endorsed a financial model that says if you want to increase your revenues, you have to grow. And then commensurate with that, if you want to even receive additional financial support, if you do grow, you have to do a better job at retaining, progressing, and graduating those students as well. So it's a very simple model. I'm not sure it's one that was clearly articulated on the Columbus State University campus.
I don't believe so. No.
I continue to repeat it. They say repetition is the mother of learning over and over again because it's very important that our colleagues understand we're not fabricating this. We're not making it up. And when we say it drives our strategy, it drives it because the legislature and the Board of Regents has said, yes, this is what drives funding in the university system of Georgia. And so we have to, at the very least, we have to acknowledge it.
So you've put a number of programs in place to improve retention. And,
Great question, and very timely. I was at a meeting this morning preparing for a formal presentation to the regents talking about our 3-year plan to retain, progress, and graduate students more effectively in a 6-year time horizon. So what have we done? And we know we've been busy. This year we launched our first ever for the Columbus State University, our first ever first-year experience program. This is a mandatory course for first-year students at the university that they attend with a cohort of peers and then participate in 1 or 2 other courses with this same group of peers. So it's bonding. They develop a reference group to depend upon. We create learning communities in the College of Ed, College of Business, College of the Arts, College of Letters and Sciences, so students can wrap around their majors as well, and that's very important. As you know, all first-year students at the university this year and their faculty, me included, read a book called A Long Way Gone, written by a New York Times bestseller and a former boy soldier from Sierra Leone, Ishmael Bea, who in October came to campus into a packed University Hall audience, told his story. Well, what a great reinforcement of our first-year experience. Yes. We also this year created a university policy for mandatory housing for first-year students who live beyond 30 miles, a 30-mile radius of the university. This is a strategy that's consistent with peers across the nation.
It certainly is.
We didn't make it up.
No, no.
Once again, we didn't fabricate it. And for the first time in the history of Columbus State University, we filled every bed in student housing. More importantly, this spring, over 90% of our student housing remain filled, which was the highest we've ever been. And more importantly, spring enrollment this spring, this semester, 2010 versus a year ago, spring 29, is up 5%.
Excellent.
That's huge.
That is huge. That's a big
most
jump.
Universities, spring enrollment drops.
No, absolutely.
And so
we
think, and we may be stretching the cause and effect rationale, but we really think we're moving the needle.
Well, you know, and I think that is indicative of what research says in terms of very simple freshman retention strategies universities take. For instance, requiring first-year students to live on campus within a certain rate. You know, research does seem to show that those freshmen end up continuing through the program, and you see less freshmen dropping out. And research shows giving freshmen these cohorts, giving them these experiences that keep them on campus will keep them connected at a time in their life when it's very easy for a lot of students, people, young adults to get sidetracked in other areas of their lives.
It's a great point. At the same time, we've worked, it seems insignificant, we've worked hard to improve meal services on this campus. We've opened up a full-service meal operation at our River Park campus as well, and opened up satellite dining facilities across the main campus. That's important.
And quality.
And quality.
That's been important.
And our partner there, Aramark, has funded that.
Okay.
If you walk across campus right now, you'll see 6 huge squares that have been cut out in Davidson Center, our student center.
We were just talking about.
And you wonder, what
windows?
Is that? Well, that's exactly right. It's windows that will look into a greatly expanded bookstore in Davidson Center. It's hard to believe. Our bookstore here has never had daylight exposure at this university. Well, that can't be. At the same time, we've opened up a second bookstore at our River Park campus.
That's right.
At River Park, we've also opened up another counseling center, a health center. Very important to acknowledge the footprint of Columbus State University is both campuses. We run this wireless shuttle every 20 minutes between the two campuses, and any given month, between 25 and 30,000 students, faculty, and staff ride those shuttles to take classes or to eat or enjoy other university services at both of our campuses.
Interesting.
I had no idea there was that many people, because I do see the buses all the time, but I had no idea that's how it was going. This is a real change in philosophy from being a commuter campus when we went to freshmen being required to live on campus, and I think that's quite a change. That's a real positive.
And it will continue to be incremental. We'll do the best we can. We're putting a lot of energies into identifying other verticals at the university that need to be attacked from a co-curricular phenomenon. And so we're doing a lot of work around our Greek life initiatives. A lot in club sports and intramural.
Great. And we were going to ask you about both of those later as we progress. I saw today we were in the paper, Greek life. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, though, is with retention, the idea of university college has an impact in that. And how do you see that? Is there anything we can do about that, or is that a positive? Or
Well, we have a university system mandate, along with Savannah State University and Augusta State University, to provide access to these students. And perhaps in our next segment, we can talk about
it. Good. This looks like a good place to take a break. You're watching the Education Forum. I'm Jeff Conklin.
It's all here with the people, with the facilities that are truly among the best in the world, from academics to athletics to campus life. Come be a part of this great place. After all, it's your world, it's your life. Take part in it here at CSU.
Now is the right time to achieve your professional goals. Quality graduate studies at Columbus State University give you the cutting-edge skills to make a difference in your profession. At Columbus State, we provide services to meet your needs. Join us in graduate studies in the College of Education and Health Professions. Wherever you are, Columbus State.
Welcome. You're back on the Education Forum. I'm Jeff Conklin, and today we have our special presentation with Dr. Timothy Mescon, president of Columbus State University. And when we went to the break, he was just getting ready to answer a question about University College. So we're going to pick it up right back there.
Great, thanks. And thanks again for having me. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
As I mentioned before the break, Columbus State University, along with Augusta State University and Savannah State University, have a institutional mandate to provide access to students who are not necessarily fully academically prepared for matriculating into traditional university courses.
Okay.
And so this is it's a unique population. We need to be committed to providing special support in writing, in mathematics, and in reading. We have a department at the university that plays a very critical role here, the Basic Studies program, which reports directly to the office of the provost and is connected to all of our tutorial and support program, easy transfer of credit,
which is
and the
important.
like. It is
Absolutely,
important to facilitate that for our students, but we continue to aggressively attack support for these students in these programs and find it's just a critical part of what we do.
Which could then be a feeder for the regular
And it will be.
program. Okay,
It
good.
will be.
Good. Bottom line for you, why should students come to CSU?
Right. Well, we think, and it's an important question, and we have been engaged in over a year-long study of our branding, of our messaging, of our marketing at the university to try to determine what are the key talking points, what's our elevator pitch, if you will, in 30 seconds or less to students. And, and we really believe Columbus State University and our town gown partnership with the Chattahoochee Valley in general and the city of Columbus in particular provides a very unique, comprehensive university experience for students. They can matriculate in a variety of academic programs in a city that's touchable. They can have a traditional campus experience here on this campus, or more of an urban campus experience at our River Park campus. They can engage in outdoor activities practically year-round. We have an extensive Rails to Trails network here in Columbus. We are very optimistic that sooner rather than later we will have whitewater in downtown Columbus on the Chattahoochee River. We will finish by the end of this calendar year our new student recreation center that's going to provide 105,000 square feet of exciting recreational space to students. And we just think, we really believe, this creates then a unique educational environment for students. We have aggressive and ambitious plan for study abroad and international experience.
Okay.
We have a world-class servant leadership program, a growing and evolving honors program, lots of co-curricular activities for students, and frankly, that's what university life is all about.
Good. Well, you know, I noticed one of the big pushes nowadays is to do more undergraduate research with faculty. And does that fit into that scheme?
It fits perfectly, and I'm so glad you mentioned that. Our provost, Dr. Nessa Levy, has made undergraduate research a critical element of academic strategy here.
Sure.
We have funded close to 80 undergraduate research projects in this, our first year. We're about to have a day of celebration of undergraduate research on our campus. We've provided well over $20,000 of support to these students for these undergraduate research projects. I think this is just the beginning. It is very critical that these remain front and center as part of our academic programming in life. Undergraduate research connects students with their professors and has tangible output in presentations, in projects, oftentimes resulting in actually in published articles.
Yes, yes.
It's
excellent.
a fantastically relevant student engagement phenomenon at universities today, and Columbus State University sees this as a critical part of our academic game.
Okay. Now, listening to you talk, I'm getting the feel that we're going through a culture change here, that we're evolving to something better. How do you see it? Do you see that occurring?
Well, it's certainly the intent.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I heard an expression not long ago that you never see a dog bark at a parked car.
Yes.
That frankly, when the car starts moving, the dog starts barking.
That's right.
Well, our car has begun to move, and both of you know, among segments of this university, that there's consternation and concern about change, about the pace of change,
Right.
and perhaps the perceived quantity of change.
Okay.
Our belief is, as we begin this journey on our second half century, that it was time to embark on that initiative. It is very important for Columbus State University to position itself as a contemporary university among our peers, both in the university system of Georgia and around the country. Well, to do that, elements like first-year experience, mandatory housing, more study abroad activities. You know, for example, our entire women's soccer team just returned from a 10-day study abroad experience in England.
Yes.
Not only did they play, all 20 student athletes play 3 matches, they completed, thanks to the College of Ed and Health Professions, a 3-semester hour course while they were there.
Beautiful.
And it's the most students that we've ever housed at Columbus State University's Spencer House in Oxford, England. Well, that's part of the change.
Oh, it sure is.
That type of study abroad experience has never been on our radar, where it involved a much larger contingent of our students. And that's important. And so across the institution, we're encouraging initiatives like this, including this semester alone, we've got over 140 online courses. Well, in fall of 2008, we had 20.
Okay.
So
that's a little
it's
growth,
increased 7-fold.
Yes, it has.
And you know, part of the dialogue on our campus has been, well, why do we do that? If we've become overwhelmingly residential, students ought to come to class. Well, the reality is at contemporary universities, we have to have a cafeteria offering of options.
Excellent.
In class, online, or blended. A little bit of both. Weekday, weeknight, weekend.
Certainly.
You know, students today expect to have a host of options. And I really believe that the majority of our faculty acknowledge that and recognize that. The summer I arrived, Columbus State University was still participating in a system initiative called eCore.
Sure, right.
Yes.
That summer, and that involved core curriculum across the system that was offered online.
Yes.
That summer, one of the first checks that I signed at this university was a $300,000 payment to eCore for encouraging our own students to take online courses offered by other
Somewhere else.
system institutions.
There's something
Sure.
wrong here.
There's something. And so what we've done with our own e-course explosion on this campus is develop over the last 4 semesters close to 400 and deliver close to 400 courses and create an opportunity for our faculty to develop and deliver these courses and for our students to enroll in our own courses.
And, you know, Greg was part of that initiative when he first came in. He created one of those courses. We both teach online courses. So, I mean,
I'm so appreciative.
that's the future, though.
You know, it's interesting because I'm just reminded of when I was in doc school, one of my mentors, one of the first things he said to me, Dr. Gary Adamson, he said, you know, public universities have to really, over the next couple of decades, have to really understand where they are and where their students are. And they're really going to have to start evolving or else they're going to die on the vine. And I'm just reminded of him saying that as you're talking about the evolution of universities and the importance of offering different options for students, because, you know, what I'm hearing in this discussion is what we talk about with our teacher ed students. We talk about overtly trying to actively engage students.
Yes.
Everything we're talking about right now is about actively engaging students and not just expecting some students to engage themselves on their own. We're actually doing that. You know, that's exactly as in special education. That's what we're really trying to do as teachers, is to actively engage our students. And I think that's an important point to keep in mind.
Well, that's a great reflection. And so, likewise, we're trying to encourage faculty to consider more a greater variety of options. For example, we're approaching Maymester.
Right.
Students are deeply interested in picking up 3 credits, 6
Sure.
credits
Yes.
in
Yes.
short bursts like that. And so we want faculty to consider that in May, in August, in December, over spring break. It's a great flexible option for students, but also for faculty. And it needs to be part of our broader menu, both baccalaureate and graduate courses as well.
Certainly. Again, it's a paradigm shift for us, and for some, they don't accept them too readily. They're kicking and screaming. But what an opportunity right now.
Right. And your point is well taken. We've provided an enormous amount of instructional support. It's very important.
Oh, yes.
You have to engage and support the development of an application of new technologies, and that's
Sure.
critical. The system provided in December a very important upgrade to Vista, which was long overdue, and that's because we have a new system, Chief Information Officer, who's working with our own CIO, Abraham George, and doing
Yes.
a fantastic job. But the punchline, and Jeff, it's very important for me to state this over and over again. If a colleague simply not interested in online or blended, that's okay too.
Okay, we're seeing kind of a paradigm shift, I think, in how we are delivering education to our students. And in the College of Education, many of us have embraced that because it gives an opportunity for us to try different things, and also it's an opportunity for students to have better access.
Right. And it's a great question, Jeff, and I'm actually very grateful to the College of Ed and Health Professions. The faculty have embraced this in courses, in degree programs. There's a lot of activity now in the School of Nursing around
Sure.
online and program course development. The college has shown great leadership, commitment to innovation, and what is so encouraging, the students have accepted it. And so
Embraced it.
it's a partnership, it's an alliance. We'll continue to push the envelope. We'll get better at what we do. Our delivery platforms will get better. But this is about acknowledging change, and I don't want to be trite, but riding the wave.
Right,
And
right.
as the wave shifts, we acknowledge it, we dust ourselves off, and we get back on it.
Well, really, what we're talking about is doing exactly what we're asking our students to do in schools. You know, we have a discourse with our students, an ongoing discourse about the importance of meeting our students in schools where they are, in our public schools. And as teachers, we can't teach like we did 10 years ago and get away with it. We can't teach like we did 20 years ago because our students are very different students than the students were just 10 years ago. That's right. Yes. And I think a lot of us here in the College of Education recognize that, you know, that's true not just in K through 12 education, but of course in post-secondary education as well.
Absolutely. Great point. And our CIO and I had a meeting yesterday with senior leadership at McGraw-Hill, for example, talking about iPad applications. Okay. And they've got new initiatives rolling out this fall in both business schools and psychology programs using iPads as the platform. Okay. We have got to continue to examine all of the options that are out there and embrace those to the best of our ability. Some will stick, some won't. But if you don't try, you'll never
Where
know.
are you? Yes.
That's right.
Well, and I think just looking at this studio is a great example of that. Because of the funding we've received, this is being used as a platform to deliver courses. Online access to students 24 hours a day.
Perfect illustration. And I think, once again, it's embracing a different technology, streamable technology. This will continue to evolve and change. And the reality is what we're entitled to do today, after we innovate time after time, is to take a deep breath, celebrate the innovation, but get back at the end of the line, and we start the process all over again.
We can't sit back and say, gee, aren't we good?
That's exactly right.
Well, you know, and it's funny that what you're saying is there's more challenges for us now, that there's going to have to be a higher standard of what you're expecting from us. And,
it's a great point.
Isn't that the academy anyway?
It is. Higher challenges, and whether we like to talk about it in these terms or not, greater competition in higher ed.
Absolutely.
And more options, more platforms, more venues, and you cannot, as a contemporary university today, ignore those.
Oh no. And you know, we're bombarded by students saying, well, what about this and what about this online program? And, you know, and I'm saying, well, we offer a lot of things online.
Now, and I will say, where we're trying to differentiate ourselves across all of our programs is we will continue to celebrate unique program accreditations.
Okay.
That where we have certain accreditations that many of our peers or other institutions do not, we need to bang that drum a little bit more loudly and explain to the population at large, what does this mean? Right. And why is this important?
Quality
is everything, and that's the push that we keep getting in the College of Ed is get your programs accredited.
That's correct.
I mean, this is a quality program, and you should feel good about that.
That's right.
Because it means, you know, I have a standard. We're there. So, you know, that's
you're not only high quality, you're rigorous.
Yes.
You know,
and I think that's
and us in teacher ed, that's what we're concerned about is our rigorous programs, because if we don't have rigorous programs for our teachers, then our schools never improve.
And we need to.
And you know, that's an important observation, because if you read the higher education literature, one of the hot topics at universities around the country is this issue of rigor in general, and rigor across the board. And in fact, and it surprises a lot of institutions, students are demanding it. That they're not looking for the easiest ride. They want to be pushed.
Yes.
They want to be challenged. It may not always mean an A. But the reality is we owe it to them to push them to challenge themselves academically.
Because they need to feel like they've changed in some way as a result of a program or a course. They need to feel like they've learned something. And to learn something, you've got to have rigor involved.
Well, it's got to be a quality education or you can go anywhere.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're delivering. That's product-wise. Now, we kind of danced around the issue of club sports. We were kind of going to talk about that, but we've seen a real growth in that. Is this a precursor to a football team, or is that a bad question? Oh, okay, okay, all right.
It is not, but great question. You know, the reality is, and once again, this is back, Jeff, to becoming a contemporary university.
Okay.
We've always celebrated our NCAA Division II status here. We've always had active intramural programs, and if you looked at today's newspaper, there was a great picture of a tug of war.
Yes, indeed, yes.
Yes, and all that's great. But what students across the country are increasingly demanding are what referred to as club sports, which are organized sports
Okay.
where students, and the student athletes wear jerseys or uniforms from their university, but they pay all their expenses, including travel and housing. They compete against other university club teams. So it almost is a hybrid between intramurals, which is more recreational and casual, and NCAA and intercollegiate sports. And this now we have club tennis and club soccer and club football.
Yes.
And kids want that, students want that, and we need to provide that. And our recreation leadership, Rick Cravens and Michael Spate and their team have done a fantastic job with limited resources in getting club sports off the ground. It looks like we may next year or shortly thereafter have a club ice hockey team.
Wow.
But we also may have a club ultimate frisbee team. So it encompasses everything, and these students travel campuses to campuses and compete with their peers.
Absolutely. Active engagement. Active student
I like
engagement.
the hockey idea. Now that we're getting the new practice arena,
That's right.
that would plug right in.
That wouldn't work without that.
No,
and now
sure
that there's a new, what we call a sheet of ice under construction next to the Civic Center, there'll be two here in Columbus.
And it'll be year-round.
That's right.
Which the other one couldn't be. So that's
right.
that's wonderful. That really is.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, we've talked about club sports and we've talked about other things. Greek life. That would seem to me to be an important aspect of retention.
Right. It's a great question. It's a very hot topic.
Okay.
At many, many universities because Pan-Hellenic and interfraternity councils have had mixed reviews and mixed performances at many institutions. We really believe that managed correctly, it can be an important dimension of co-curricular life at Columbus State University. We have a terrific new director of Greek life here, a young woman, Tinsley Hembry, who's done a fantastic job. We're looking at taking some of our rental housing that the university owns in the Maryland Circle area and converting that to Greek housing where fraternities and sororities can participate in that.
Interesting.
And so we're taking it one step at a time. One of our peer institutions in the system, the University of West Georgia, has built a phenomenal Greek village, a Greek housing village near their campus. It's a great model. It may not be the appropriate model for us.
Sure.
But
changes have been coming.
And it works at West Georgia. It may work here.
Very good. Well, I think this is a good place to take a break. You're watching the Education Forum. I'm Jeff Conklin.
This College of Education and Health Professions program was brought to you by the Dean's Office, Dr. David Rock, Dean, and the Department of Counseling, Foundations, and Leadership.
Contrary to popular belief, not all dorms have to look like a hole in the wall. This is an actual apartment at Columbus State University's River Park Student Housing, and the art, music, and theater departments are located just down the road, and they're absolutely phenomenal. We've got that all around us, and there are coffee shops and restaurants and all these really fun places for you to hang out. So anything you want to do, it's all right here. It's your world. It's your life. Take part in it at CSU.
We're back on the Education Forum. I'm Jeff Conklin, and today on our show we have Dr. Timothy Mescon, president of Columbus State University. And we're just having a conversation. And what is your vision for the future of CSU?
Well, as you know, last year we concluded a very engaged strategic plan that resulted in 5 specific goals for the university. All of our stakeholders had an incredible opportunity for input and feedback into the refinement of that plan. Now, having taught strategic management for 32 years, there's a sacred element to planning and there's different terminology used, but one of the canons in strategic management, strategic planning, is that stuff happens. And in our case, over this 2-year period, we've experienced a mandatory 21% budget reduction that is going to call for some tweaking of our plan. That is inevitable. That the market changes. In this case, the economy changed, and we will need to begin a process of refining those 5 goals, modifying our plan, and appropriately with the shifting landscape that the state of Georgia and most of higher education is experiencing today. We do see, once again, driven by the funding formula in the legislature and the system, a larger institution. We did open up a satellite location in West Point, Georgia, to support the launch of the new Kia manufacturing facility there. We are also in the tail end of a comprehensive review of our partnership with the military in general and Fort Benning in particular. We have not always managed that relationship well. We spoke earlier about the need for more flexible delivery of courses. We believe that what is going to come out of that review of our military partnership is the need to compress a traditional 15-week, in many cases online course, into a 7.5-week online course, so that a faculty member might deliver one course over the first half of the semester and then a second course over the second half of the semester. For the military population, that seems to be the norm, where courses run generally across the nation from 3 to 7.5, 8 weeks.
All right.
We feel the easiest model for us is probably going to be just to slice the semester in half. And say, the first half of the semester, you deliver one course, the second half, you deliver another course. There'll be some other changes, but we need to elevate our access to active duty military, their dependents, civilian contractors, federal civil service. Frankly, we've just not done a very good job with that.
We've kind of ignored them. And they're a huge resource here. They're right in our town. The base is getting larger. And we should be there.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, considering the fact they're such a large part of our community, it's incumbent upon us to recognize that and recognize their needs, I think.
It's a great point. And we found that many military dependents are interested in getting education certification as well, interested in converting their registered nurse certification to a Bachelor of Science in Nursing or a Master's in Nursing, which is on our horizon in the next 5 years. So that's very important, and it's appropriate. There's a designation, for example, of a military-friendly university. We've never received that designation. Now, we should.
Nor have we felt that way. They were just kind of there. So
now,
I think that's an important
so we should.
Point.
So we've visited other universities that have great partnerships with military installations. We're going to steal shamelessly from a number of those and take best practices. And that's part also of our 5-year plan. I think also we'll see the development of some additionally targeted master's programs. We think one of the first will be our master's program in organizational leadership, which will have both a servant leadership track and a military leadership track. So we think that's a great initiative as well. So we've also challenged departments and programs to pursue accreditation for those that have never done that. So, for example, this year, as you know, we have a new Department of Chemistry at the university in our College of Letters and Sciences. We've challenged the leadership in that department, Dr. Floyd Jackson, the new department chair, to pursue certification, accreditation by the American Chemical Society. We've never had that
in all these
before.
years. Yeah.
We need to have that. Now,
certainly do.
part of it, for example, called for the library to step it up, we needed to subscribe to a host of chemical abstracts. We've never done that. Now we're doing
They're
that.
available.
Part of it called for the writing of a National Science Foundation grant to receive funding for a nuclear magnetic resonance machine. We did it. We got it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's those things that have to happen. A lot of moving parts to reach accreditation in these programs.
But it's, again, laying down that foundation so we can go forward.
Correct. And it's consistent with how we define quality and excellence across the university. Pursuing accreditation, national or international, where it exists and where we didn't have it, and maintaining accreditation.
Sure.
Reaffirming
Sure.
maintenance of accreditation in areas where we've already attained it.
Now, you mentioned the library. The library, as I say, needs a transformation. It's begun. Libraries aren't going to be four walls anymore. And is that part of the future?
Well,
how do you see that?
It's a great question because it's another part of sort of the push and pull that you've seen, I've experienced here at the university. There's a sector who like what they see and a sector who don't like what they see, and that's what universities are all about.
Right.
What we've
right,
seen
right.
in the past year is a couple of phenomena. First of all, we've seen a lot of the stacks vanish.
Yes. Yes.
Now the books didn't vanish. The books have all been relocated and are available for checkout, for access, but they're no longer cluttering up the main floor of our Schwab library.
Right.
We built a student commons, a learning area. We built a mezzanine
Sure.
Yes. Yes.
in the library,
Yes.
and it's very cool space.
Mm-hmm.
We're also converting a lot of other space for contemporary library uses, which is student study team usage
Okay.
in the library, where they can bring laptops and they have access to technology to practice PowerPoint presentations and other presentations. Heaven forbid we put a satellite of our Einstein's deli in
Yes.
the library
Yes.
as well. You can eat and drink in our library.
Which was a problem for
Right.
years.
It
Oh
was
gosh,
verboten.
no water.
I have to admit, I still feel guilty about drinking in any library.
Much
It just
like
seems
you.
wrong
Yes,
based on how I was
right.
brought up.
Believe it or not, we're about to put a bank of Nintendo Wiis in the library as well. If you visit libraries around the
Right.
country, they become a new go-to place for students on campuses, but they've got to be engaging.
Yes, they do.
You
Well-
can't expect students to be studying continuously, so when they're not, they can be exercising, they can be playing on the Wiis,
That's
they
right.
can be eating, they can be drinking.
Talking.
We're talking multimedia centers
Yes,
really now,
really.
more than just a...
First of all, it's driven by technology, but there's also a contemporary use of the physical space as well.
Okay.
I visited with a team the University Library at the University of South Carolina. It shocked everybody to learn that, and you'll wonder what this has to do with the library, but that 12% of the beverage sales, the soft drink sales on the entire University of South Carolina and Columbia campus transpire in their library. 12% of their sales. It tells you how much student use there is in their
Oh,
library.
absolutely.
Well, let me factor this in.
Okay.
The largest amount of unused space on this campus is in our library.
Okay.
Excuse me. We actually have a first floor to that library that's only ever been used for storage.
That's right. That's
So
right.
we have 15 to 20,000 square feet that's never been used. We now have developed a plan and submitted a proposal to the Board of Regents for minor maintenance, repair, and renovation support
Okay.
to capture that space for faculty and student engagement and to really maximize our utilization, in this case, of our Schwab library on the main campus.
So what you're saying is we're really going to add 1/3 more.
Correct.
Without doing any construction.
Correct.
Which
And
is,
how lucky is that?
yeah, because typically we'd be out, 10 years trying to add on 1/3 of the library.
But we think for a reasonable investment, we can drop the ceilings, condition the air, maximize the use of that space in a very dynamic way, and create another outlet for our students, both for research and study, but also just for peer engagement as well.
Which
We're
is a
real
key part of it now, is that peer
Absolutely.
engagement. I see a transformation needing to take place in the libraries, that we really have to get away from the box where we're afraid to talk, we're afraid to drink, we're afraid to interact, and also that we don't need to have the book in our hand anymore.
It's a great point. I just saw a report by our UITS team on the library that talked about how many millions of full version of hardbound books and periodical publications are available online today.
Certainly.
You know, we're interested in best of class,
Yes.
online access, real time, for students, for faculty, to complement our permanent collection. It's not engaging in the argument today, what's right or wrong,
Oh, no.
what's good or bad.
No.
It is simply expanding the platform of availability and access again in a different mode, in a different way.
And that's the key. It's different. And that's where, we have conflict because it's different. But again, that's that transformation. That's future thinking.
Absolutely. I mean, especially when you think about the importance, the central importance of the library to any academic institution, and then you think about an institution that's reaching students who are coming from further and further distances, either physically or electronically, it's so important to recognize that the library, the center, the lifeblood of your academic institution, needs to also change to reach out to those changing demographics, those changing students.
You're exactly right. And once again, we need to make certain that our traditional hours are appropriate, and that's during the regular part of the semester and during exams as well, to make that library a truly dynamic opportunity for our students. But it's also acknowledging the power of technology.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
And leveraging that world as well to maximize resource utilization, books, periodicals, databases by faculty and students. Not all of that is going to take place in our main library or at our music library physically. A lot of it's going to take place online.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have ongoing discussions in many of our classes with our students, especially our undergraduate students, who about the idea of using a library and doing how you do research.
Right.
And their mental paradigm is not about going into books to do research. They default, because of their generation, to getting online and using the internet and all that the internet promised us 15 years ago in terms of access to information.
Yes.
And so they default to, why wouldn't I go on the internet to do research?
Always.
And really, there's a load on us as faculty to teach them how to responsibly do that kind of research and not force them to not do that kind of research. Absolutely.
Perfect descriptions, and yet at the same time, parallel to that, we're trying to create an environment in our libraries that engage students more as they're working on research, developing projects. They're using the library as a learning commons and engaging it in a very different way. And we think that's important.
Well, it's that whole idea of user-friendly. And that's what you keep saying. Everything you've been talking about, make it so it's user-friendly. So our students of today will go there.
If you just think, and this, I know this is an anachronism, but if you just think of the traditional view we have of many libraries with the big banner that said, shh, when you walk in, what we really wanted to say is, jump.
Interact.
Engage,
Interact.
interact.
Absolutely.
Right,
Get-
right,
That's what,
right.
That's what we're here for.
Right. That is an institution of higher learning.
Yes.
That happens only through interaction and exchange of ideas.
And to that point, the different learning styles of this younger student generation today, they want noise.
Yes, they do.
Sure.
They multitask, and we've got to create an environment where that works for them.
Where it's encouraged.
That's right.
Where,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so then, in thinking about that, what are some specific ways that we're creating that environment here at CSU within our library?
Well, UITS has developed a comprehensive plan for expanding the learning commons. If you look at the main floor of the library, we've created these fantastic access to terminals and online access. We've built some student study carrels that are very important. What we need to do now is build more. UITS has complemented that. As you know, we've listened to our students, opened up our first ever 24-hour open access computer lab,
Yes,
which is
yes.
over in our Commerce and Technology
Yes.
building, and it gets enormous utilization. We also have, and it's because of the demographic of our students, we have a very active laptop loaner program on this campus. And we're
Interesting.
very engaged with that. And students know about it, they take advantage of it, and we have technology partners that make that happen. And we think that's an important part of what we're doing.
Oh, it sure
Interesting.
is.
Well.
When you mentioned the idea, though, about the library being more user-friendly, we have to do something with the hours there. Because as we did with the computer lab, we have so many students, they're not working at 8 o'clock in the morning, they're
Right.
working 11 o'clock at night.
Well, and we've had discussions like that, and that's a tough one. And it's a tough one because of the 21% budget cut.
Oh,
Sure.
abs-
You know,
yeah,
at the
oh,
end of the
course,
day-
Of course,
Sure.
You can't do it all. And it wasn't built from a security safety perspective so that it could be even minimally
Right.
staffed like
Right.
that. But we're working on it.
Well, and again, the budget is everything right now. So, well, I think this is where we're going to have to end the show. You've been watching the Education Forum with our special guest, Dr. Timothy Mescon, the president of Columbus State University, and we want to thank him for taking the time out to be on our show today. It's meant a lot to us, and hopefully we can get together again in the future.
Well, once again, I want to thank you both. What a great vehicle this is, and I'll come back anytime.
Well, thank you very much. You've been watching the Education Forum. I'm Jeff Conklin. Education Forum is a production of the studio in the College of Education and Health Professions at Columbus State University, Columbus, Georgia. Executive producer, Tom Hackett. Director, Mike Baltimore. Produced by Jeff Conklin with the help of Greg Blaylock. Sound and video technician, Justin Bakuti and Kenneth Grant.